Got Karen today in a parking lot while my toddler screamed in the back seat. Today was one of those days where you just think, wow, people really suck sometimes. I was parked, getting out of my car, when the wind blew my door open gently. It barely touched the car next to mine. No visible dent, just a possible mark. I immediately acknowledged it and offered to exchange info. When I explained it was the wind, not to avoid responsibility, but just to clarify that it wasn't a careless act, she cut me off with, no. Something like this happened before and it cost $2,000. My car is new. At that point, it felt less like she was assessing real damage and more like she was trying to guilt trip and manipulate me. She even pointed out a completely unrelated mark further down and insisted that was from my door too, which made no sense based on where the door touched. And then it escalated fast. She started filming me and my toddler, who was crying in his car seat, scared and confused. She threatened to call the police. I was trying to stay calm, juggle my phone, pull up my insurance app, and soothe my child, and she just kept the camera on us. I could feel my son's distress behind me, and that's when I lost it emotionally and called 911 myself. I didn't feel safe or respected, and I needed a neutral record of what was happening. After I gave her my info, I went back into the car to comfort my son, who by then was screaming and crying from the stress. I looked up, and she was still filming us. I was literally just trying to calm my scared toddler, and she kept her phone pointed at us like we were some kind of show. That moment broke me. And it didn't stop there. When I showed her that I'd called 911, she told the police I had banged on her window, which was absolutely false. I simply held up my phone near the window to show her the call screen. She also accused me of locking my child in the car with no air circulation, which was so far from the truth. I was right there, window cracked, AC on. It was just another manipulative accusation meant to make me panic. She even lied about having the same insurance as me, USAA, when I first mentioned mine. But it turned out she was with Geico. Just more weird, unnecessary power moves. I know she probably assumed she could intimidate me because I'm an immigrant, English isn't my first language, and I look like someone who might not push back. But I didn't back down. I gave her my info, I made the call, and I stood my ground. My husband showed up by Uber when I called him, and for the first time in the whole interaction, I felt not alone. I'm still feeling the stress hours later, but I'm proud of how I handled it. I didn't yell. I didn't film her back. I didn't escalate. I protected my son and kept my dignity. Thanks for letting me unload this here. Just needed to breathe it out somewhere real. Entitled Patient Demands to be Seen During a Medical Emergency. I just saw a similar-ish post that reminded me of this unfortunate memory. This was a few years ago now, but it never fails to aggravate me. I used to work as a receptionist at a fairly busy medical clinic. It was the day before a major holiday, so the mood was jolly and it was an uncharacteristically slow day in the office. We had a patient and his wife no-show in the morning. No phone call, no reschedule, no nothing. Naturally, after about half an hour their appointment is cancelled. Things are running smoothly until we see a patient who was recently released from the hospital and is following up with us. They look extremely unwell. By this point, my spidey senses are tingling that something's about to go down. Mid-doctor's visit, the patient suddenly loses consciousness and begins coding, cardiac arrest. Everything is in literal chaos. The doctor and medical assistant are performing CPR while I'm on the phone frantically trying to get EMS out there ASAP. The spouse is crying and screaming, and patients are slowly trickling in to witness this all in plain sight. Naturally, most people were kind and concerned, giving us space to work, silently signing in their names and taking a seat. Of course, it's during all of this frenzy that entitled patient walks in. As I'm finishing up my emergency call, they begin tapping repeatedly on the glass. Entitled patient, hey, we're here for our appointment. I hope the wait isn't going to be long. Also, it's very rude that you were on the phone when we walked in. Me, I apologize. As you can see, we're currently in the middle of an emergency. Also, your appointment was over 2 hours ago. It's already been canceled. Entitled patient, yeah, I know we're a little late, but can't you guys just fit us in somewhere? I mean, we're already here now. Why can't we just have that person who's dying on the floor's appointment? They're not going to be using it. They're actual words. Me, WTF? No, that's not how this works. Your appointment is canceled and you're going to have to reschedule for another day. We're currently dealing with a life or death emergency. Entitled patient, wow, this is such bull. Unbelievable. You guys could have squeezed us in this whole time. It would have taken like 5 minutes tops. The doctor could have seen us while the paramedics handled the other person. You all just wasted our time. We're never coming back to your office. And thank God, as long as I worked there I never did see them again. Oh, and thankfully our patient survived and is doing great. Someone kept hitting their car door into my car while I was in it, so I returned the favor. I was parked in a student parking structure and was stuck on a phone call before heading out. There was an SUV that pulled in next to me, and for a few minutes one of the girls had her door open while she was looking through the back seat. The door kept banging into my car, and I look over and see that she wasn't paying attention. When all was said and done, her other friend came out from the other side of the car and they both left. I noticed the friend pointing out that her door was hitting my car, and that's when she looked and saw me sitting in my car. I shook my head at her after seeing that she was chuckling at the situation. Didn't say anything because I was still on the phone. They were long gone by the time I finished my call, so I pulled my car to park on the other side of her car and proceeded to slam my car door into hers repeatedly until some dents started caving in. My car's super old, so no biggie. But just because it's old doesn't mean people should be careless dicks about it. Anyway, it went fine and I felt a lot better about the situation overall. Edit 2. Yes, this is a real story. No, IDGAF about karma on Reddit lol. I was on the phone with my provider after being on hold for a long time to go over my lab, so no, I sure as hell didn't hang up for that. The event happened months ago and I no longer go on that campus. Sorry if it bothers you that I got away with it. Hope that addresses all the frequently asked questions. And I'm glad this is a space for y'all to share your similar horror stories too. She ruined my birthday. My birth mother isn't a great person. Just gonna put that out there. For my birthday one year, I think maybe my 14th birthday, she was mean about everything for no reason. She said things like, "Don't eat too much cake, you don't want the extra pounds. That's all you have planned? Because you don't have many friends?" I planned to see a movie, have ice cream and go to the bowling alley afterwards. Apparently she had already seen the movie because she told me all about the movie I was about to see. Later that night she was at the bowling alley. She got very loud and drunk. She talked very explicitly and got up to leave with two men. As she was leaving she said, "My daughter is OP. Don't tell her I'm leaving with these guys." So everyone made fun of me for having a sexually promiscuous birth mother. The day after my birthday I went to her house to confront her about ruining my birthday. She said more hurtful things. So fine. I gathered up maybe about 15 or so crickets and let them loose in her bedroom. The first night I could hear the crickets but she did nothing. Second night, same thing. The next day I caught her looking at her bedroom windows and asked her what she was doing. She said nothing and told me to go away. Next night she was angry and said I needed to go outside and stop the crickets from chirping. I wasn't quite sure how to do that, so I grabbed a drink, a snack and a book. I spent a while outside reading and snacking, came back inside and told my birth mom I squished every cricket I could find. She said good. That morning I woke up to her sleeping on the couch. She was on the phone with one of her friends later telling her friend how horrible it was to get no sleep because all she could hear were crickets all night long. She caught me smiling and she accused me of doing something. I said I'm not sure what you mean. But if I did do something it would be well deserved and then some for ruining my birthday and having school peers bully me because my mom left the bowling alley with two guys. She got very angry and kicked me out. I went to go and live with my grandmother again where I told her what happened. She told me that was a bad thing to do and then she cheered pop cans with me and smiled. Overcharged me at the nail salon and led to chaos. I got my nails done this morning at the same nail salon I've been patronizing for almost 2 years. It has 1,000 plus great reviews online and they have always done amazing work. They don't post their prices anywhere, but I've always paid $40 to $50. However, it hasn't been consistent, as in sometimes I would be asked to pay $50 and other times later $40. When I asked about the price, usually when it was $50, they would say I got a nice discount at $40 and standard was $50. The $10 never bothered me, so I never made a fuss about it and kinda chalked it up to more inexperienced front desk workers not tracking well to the established price. I also have gotten into the habit of asking the price before they start, but forgot to ask this AM because I was just getting my normal nails. Today, I finished up my appointment and the front desk told me it was $70. I was surprised because I got them done last month and I'm pretty sure it was only $40. The lady said prices went up, which I felt should have been stated somewhere, but I know that businesses are nervous about the economy, so I understand a hike. I paid my bill and internally decided to find a new salon, not because they did anything wrong, but paying $70 for nails isn't worth it for me while there are cheaper places around, given the quality will almost definitely decrease. After I paid, I realized I left something at my seat. I had been quietly chatting with the lady sitting next to me during our appointments and we were getting the exact same service in different colors. As I went to grab my bag, I couldn't help making a quiet comment to her that $70 for our nails is crazy. Yes, this was a complaint but also wanted to warn her about what to expect. She immediately got agitated and asked her nail tech how it could be this much, because she had never paid more than $30 for the service. She looked like she was going to cry and said she didn't have $70 for the service today. Her nail tech quickly tried to do damage control and said that since she was such a loyal customer, her price would be $30. This didn't really calm her down though. She asked how long I'd been going there and I said 2 years and she said she'd been coming for less than a year. At this point, other customers at the busy salon started paying attention to what was going on, and a few, 7 to 8, other people started sharing what they paid for their nails, and it ranged from $30 to $70. At that point, I had my bag and no reason to stay, but as I left almost the whole salon was getting heated with everyone realizing that they actually don't have a set price for their services and just charge as much as they can get out of you. I will definitely be leaving a review and something tells me that the others there will as well. Smile. You should smile more. I was out running errands, lost in thought, just trying to get through the day. As I walked past a man, he looked at me and said, "You should smile more, it would look much better on you," with a stupid smile on his face like he was giving me genuine advice. I stopped, turned to him, and said, "I just got back from identifying my sister's body. She was murdered last night." His face went pale, his mouth opened, then closed like he was searching for words, but nothing came out. He just nodded awkwardly and practically ran away. I don't actually have a sister, but the entitlement some people have to dictate a stranger's emotions is infuriating. You have no idea what someone is dealing with, and assuming they owe you a smile is just ignorant and selfish. Maybe next time, he'll think twice before telling someone how they should feel. Please just have a fucking dress code. Weddings nowadays seem to swing in the extremes of being way too strict about a dress code or way to lose. The dress code was not on the invite, just a request that everyone dress to the nines, be decadent and whimsical. No formal, semi-formal, black tie, etc. I tried to toe the line, covered up legs and bust, but got the dress tailored to fit well and hit the ankles. Got some sparkles on the dress but was by no means a glitter bomb. I show up and there are people in fucking blazers, stretchy velvet pants, and mostly garden party attire. I felt like I was in a fucking costume. I was told my makeup was so make-uppy I am literally wearing black mascara, blush and a nude/purple lip. The person who told me this was wearing a dark purple lip. Others in bright red lipstick, mini dresses, red dresses and tits out. Yet I felt out of place because I showed up to a wedding dressed for a wedding and dressed like how I was told. The bride was lovely but I felt so judged by my own family and friends. I couldn't socialize with anyone since I felt so awkward. Like next time just say it is garden party attire and I would have saved so much more time, money and stress. Update: I love my family. People besides the bride did complimented my outfit, so not everyone was judgmental. And most people probably didn't even notice me because they were focused on the couple and having fun. I just needed to vent. I'm a socially anxious person already and didn't know most people at the party, so feeling overdressed amplified the awkwardness for me. But I really did not know so many people were freaking toddlers about dress codes. It's not an infringement on your rights, just a social guideline. If you hate dressing up, then you know maybe a black tie wedding is not for you, but a beach casual is. It's just information that it can't hurt you. It literally just helps you make an informed decision. To the people who say everyone knows what to wear to a wedding, no actually. Depending on culture/background, people may have wildly different experiences of what to wear to a wedding. If someone dictates what shade of blues are acceptable, that's overkill. But just letting people know the level of formality is not. I picked up a stranger's baby today. Was I in the wrong? Silly question, but I'm curious. I took my 2 kids to an indoor playground today in my area. They are 2.5 and 5. The place allows kids 10 and under and also has an area specifically for babies. Anyways, there was a slide that all the kids were going down and it was packed. There was a baby at the bottom of the slide who was probably about 10 months old. He was getting trampled by older kids going down over and over. He was screaming and crying and I felt terrible for him. He was screaming and crying for a while and nobody was coming for him. I kneeled down and basically said, "It's okay, buddy. Where's your mama?" He couldn't talk obviously. Still, nobody was coming for him and he was screaming. I kneeled down again and he put his arms up to me, so I picked him up. I was holding him and started walking around looking for a parent. Finally a lady saw him and came towards me. It was his mom and she reached for him. I told her sorry, that I picked him up because he was getting trampled by older kids. He was okay but just scared. She said okay and snatched him. She wasn't happy. I understand it was weird for her that a random stranger was holding her baby, but I didn't know what else to do. I wonder if I should have just left him on the floor and went and looked for a parent, but I felt so bad for him. He was getting trampled over and over again and nobody was coming to help him.